So guys, now to the common calculator problems that less than 40% of you got correct. You did very well in general, guys. So let's look at this. We've got, that's the hypotenuse, that's the adjacent, that's the opposite. But we don't need the hypotenuse here. I'll cross that out so you don't get confused. Now remember the trig ratios we have. So, Ka, Toa, and I remember them as 3 Japanese emperors, and you can create your own mnemonic for you to remember it. Right, so we've got O and A, we have to use Toa, so we know that tan theta, which is tan the angle, equals opposite over adjacent. So that's 5, in this case it's x. Sometimes using a triangle helps people. So we can see that if we're finding the angle, well, we're finding x here, so x is A, so that means if we was to cover A, can you see that means x, or the adjacent in this case, will look at O, the opposite, divided by tan of the angle, which is tan 32. But I want to show you rearranging it this way, it's more professional. So if we times x by both sides, you get x tan 32 equals 5. So to get x on its own, you know you need to divide by tan 32, just so you can see the triangle making sense. It's like a speed distance time triangle. So x equals 5 over tan 32, and just plug that in your calculator. Now what did it say? Give your answer to the nearest centimetre. It says x equals 8.00167 and some more decimal places. So to the nearest centimetre, that's 8 centimetres. Guys, you are still rounding here. It clearly says nearest centimetre, so if you put a decimal place in, you will lose 1 answer mark. Right, this triangle was a bit twisted, but you can see you've got hypotenuse, it's opposite the right angle. Adjacent is here, adjacent to the angle, and the opposite again. So we're using tan again, which is for Toa. Now I'm going straight into the triangle, TOA. So we don't know the angle, so it's tan theta equals O over A, so we can just keep it like that. This is sometimes easier, so let's just substitute the numbers in, 8 over 21. So inverse tan both sides, so that's inverse to get the angle. So the angle theta equals 20.854, and it carries on. Now it says 3 significant figures, so that means that's the third value here. First significant, second and third. So the answer here is 20.9 degrees. Right, so don't lose an answer mark. Rounding is quite straightforward. Right, guys, this is a diagonal of a triangle. This is the height. It's equilateral from these clues here. So we know this side is half. That makes a right angle. So what do we use? Pythagoras, a squared plus b squared plus c squared. Now we're finding a shorter side, so it equals c squared. We're finding a shorter side, so I know it's going to be c squared minus b squared equals a squared, or you can say c squared minus a squared equals b squared, it doesn't matter. So we've got 10 squared minus 5 squared equals, I'm going to call that b here, that's a, that's c, equals b squared. So that's 100 minus 25, so 75 equals b squared. You square root that to get b. The square root of 75 is 8.66, and it's asking for the nearest centimetre, so rounding to the 2 decimal places would be fine for your working out. So can you see, if that's 8.66, we now have the height of the triangle, which is 8.66, and the width is what? It's not 5, it's 10, so we just do 10 times 8.66 divided by 2 because it's a triangle, and it says to the nearest centimetre, so that answer must be 43 centimetres to the nearest centimetre. Perfect. Now this is a Pythagoras again. Calculate the distance of A and B, and you guys did so well with this. You found out this height. So that's going to be 27 squared minus 20 squared equals, I'm just calling that b squared. So 27 squared minus 400, that's 20 squared. That's equal to 329. 18.138. That should be rounded enough. I'll just round that to 3 decimal places because it says decimal places. So that's 18.138. So now we need to find this whole length by using a squared plus b squared equals c squared. We're finding the shorter side, so it's going to be 40 squared minus 18.138 squared equals, I'm going to call that b squared again. So 40 squared minus 18.138, and using those numbers should be accurate enough to get the full marks in the answer mark. You do get a range of acceptable answers in the exam. So you get 1271.013. I just rounded that to 3dp here, so we square root that to get b squared. And so we square root that answer, and you get 35.65 to 2 decimal places. And it says to decimal places, so it sounds plural, so I'm just going to do that to 2. Now the key mistake you guys made is it's asking for the length between A to B, so it's this length, so you need to minus 20 to this answer. So AB equals 15.65 meters, and that's done. Right, this is 3D, so that's grade 8 to 9. So can you see on a 2D plane that is a right angle here, and we want to find that length here to help us find the angle between A and E. So if I was to draw a 2D picture of that now, this will be easier. I'll do this in the exam, it's good practice. 7 and 4. So we're finding c squared here, so c squared is going to equal a squared plus b squared. So c squared equals 4 squared plus 7 squared. So c squared equals 16 plus 49. So that should be 16 plus 49, that's 65. And you can use a calculator here. So you need to do the square root of 65. So you square root both sides. The square root of 65 is 8.062. I'm just going to do that to 3 decimal places because that should give us the accuracy to do the answers to 2 decimal places. You can just use the answer button in your calculator to be more accurate. You should still get the full marks using that, but doing 3 decimal places should also get you the full marks. So now we know that's 8.062 meters. So we want this angle here, so hopefully you can visualize this triangle in blue now. The right angle's there, so all we're doing now is using a bit of trigonometry now. So Pythagoras first and trigonometry later. With this length 8.062 and this length 3, and they want you to find this angle here because the plane ABCD is on the base here. So let's label. We've got hypotenuse, adjacent here, and opposite. Let's cross out the hypotenuse so we don't get confused. Again, we're using tan, so we know it's tower, and that triangles help you remember. TOA. So we have tan theta equals opposite, which is the 3, divided by 8.62. So we inverse tan both sides, so theta equals 20.41 to 2 decimal places. That is fine. And I know some of you got this right and you disputed it, and I gave you the mark because they probably worked this out wrong themselves. Now it just says work out the mean answer to the number of cousins. So this means there's 2 people have 0 cousins. That means there's 2 people with 1 cousin, so that'd be 1 and 1. And there'll be 9 people with 2 cousins, so there's be 9 lots of 2's there, so forth. So that's why we can just do 1 times 2, and then 2 times 9 for this one, and 3 times 7 here to find out the total amount of cousins. So that's going to be, add all that up is 41. Now I know some of you would have done this in your head. Most common mistake is people to say that is 2. That is wrong. 2 times 0 is 0. So let's add up all the numbers we've got. We've got 2 add, oh we've done that, 41. There's 41 cousins. What's the frequency total? That's 16 add 4, so the total here is 20. So what's 41 divided by 20? You can use your calculator. It says leave your answer as a decimal, and that answer is 2.05 cousins, and that is quite easily done. Remember 2 times 0 this is the most common error when people say 2 times 0 is 1. I've seen lots of these people do that and they mess up the question, and you only could probably get 1 mark out of 3. For making a silly error like that, it's quite straightforward, and hopefully that goes over everything. Apologies for the background noise, there's lots of things going on outside, but I'm going to try and cover that with some backing music for this video.